Aqui a Remy Office 5521, Rio de Janeiro, Brasil, nighttime, October, day 8, 2021, Friday. We will move ahead, not the, kind of history that is the futurism and the finance, but we will come very close to this. We will have here kind of the use of this procedure, which is an audit and emergency self-defense, which allowed us maybe to understand distortions and at very specific fields, considering one very specific area as micro behavior, which goes as part of an integrated failure as conjuncture. This integrated failure as conjuncture is the Brazil. The Brazil has two segmentation as communication and finances. The failure of both give us the fintech crimes. Indeed, we have this. We always have the associations from public department. We have the communication, we have the finances as activity. Inside the communication, we have the cybercrime, the deep web, and all things. And we could observe that the provider of communication sometimes you got in touch with interests at the public area to obtain investment as public investment or to support dubious arguments inside the public department which are against the law. In the same way, our corporate bank, we set a cross-cut between these two both, and indeed we will have our cube format here. And then we will try to integrate this cube as connected by the fintech scams, and we are having the geopolitical distribution of power considering very peculiar period, give me the idea as time and space. Time and space. Time, space will give me the estimative as geopolitical power. This geopolitical power will enact abusive orders or activity association at the communication and at the bank. The geopolitical area, G. I will have from these two players as bank and communications all G's as geopolitical orders enacted in space Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, or the other area which is 5522, considering the model which indeed we had as state Brazil, city stage as national state, stage as federative unit, and city. Then we have the first situation. This stage is 55 Brazil, the stage 21 Rio de Janeiro, the city 021 Rio de Janeiro, codified our area. We can cross, for instance, if you have a concurrent procedure inside the security for it's something international. 01 America stage, we have one peculiar stage and a seat on USA. We can have this as, a deeper level as cross-cut. And this is our micro procedure as micro conjuncture inside the global system. But we are having a speech, an issue at the OECD about the global taxation. Before we continue with this, since you evoked me, here I am. We will ask you something. Can you understand that the financial system is a system presented as a sequence? It means that the instrument, named annual budget, points to a systematical and sequential relation between, in general, debt and credit. Can you understand this? In the same way, when we are talking about the investment budget, we are talking about the systematical incomes, the systematical outcomes, and the difference between both, which is your saving account. This is the general finances at the family, at the company, at your national system. Can you understand this? First thing. Second thing, can you name any tax system around the globe able to claim themselves all regular or with prevalence as regularity, especially during the COVID-19? No, you can't. No one can. Because the tax system, as national tax system, in general had been used to support and finance the criminal activity in global scale. Now, we could have our clusterization by our micro behavior, and the distortions on economy will happen on micro behavior and macro behavior, as conjuncture, as global conjuncture. And we will observe that the micro behavior inside the conjuncture Brazil, I will have the microeconomical failure or crime, the macroeconomical crime, which is the integrated failure complained by consumption. This integrated failure at the global economy is a micro-conjunctural failure, which is this cube here. This cube here and this micro-behavior is the residual activity which we study in econometrics as the minimum square model. The integration of minimum square as residual activity can set a piece of this cube, and this cube now will be inside a global system, which is a system really big. And here is the first situation as Brazil, which indeed had a projection from microeconomy, before have the entrance at this globe. And then you can have the integration as failure to support your premise as, taxation around the globe, because indeed we are biting, presenting as a linear presentation. We are kind of biting the piece of your tax activity. It means that now your global taxation is not global anymore because we are not accomplishing with this. First thing. Second thing, can you name the variables we are supporting this speech able to present a clear statement about efforts and works made by them, especially at the COVID-19, to be crossed with the micro conjuncture, which is their own national account, during the COVID-19 supported by the taxation. And you can use this model to track the distortions during the COVID-19, especially during the period which the COVID-19 segmented, which is the isolation and the breakdown, you know. And you can track these two both by the isolation and breakdown cities that goes inside the state as federative unit, which goes inside the national environment, to understand the movement as economical evaluation at this period when you had no productive system. Can you get the point? You are unable to present your reasons. This requirement as information to the variables that is leading this global taxation this global taxation speech by the OECD as 15%. Do you have the accurate and precise quantification of the entire money around the globe? No, especially because you had a lot of variance considering the disruptive between the relation investment saving liquidity money. You know, those variables can present this reason inside a room closed. Let's suppose a procedure that you have in any global company which is concerned with all things, pointing a group of variables inside with legitimacy to Q to understand if they got this reported as the risk as using the financial system national, and now the creation of a global financial system to support the crime in global scale, which is related with terror and other things, weapons of mass destruction, and they can put a bullet inside your head. Do you consider, or inside in the middle of your chest? Do you consider yourself able to have this inside this room? So you should consider this speech as global taxation speech, 15%. But it's suggested by the audit has no make decision power. In general, or we will put you all inside a boat and bomb you all. 3 boats until 2010 way, and we have in a very happy land. So, can you have this? I bet you not. But you should continue with your, speech about the global taxation. If necessary, we will continue our conversation. Very pleasant conversation. Have a nice day.